So we have Dr. Blight,
Mhm.
who is the first airdrop card, and
Yep.
he is released, or he is revealed, I should say. And people start speculating in like, okay, how much is this card going to be worth? And like, what happened was the vouchers, they started going down in price. I can just put it up here real quick. Let's see if we have a Hive engine here somewhere.
There, you have a
There we go. Okay, so vouchers. They've been
Interesting.
constantly going down.
Yep.
And since Dr. Blight wasn't like super overpowered, I guess it was below expectations. Because if this card would have been spectacular, vouchers would have gone up, I guess. Because people would have wanted the card, and this is the only way to get it. But it was below. And you know, I've been trying to, in my earlier videos, to like calculate how much a voucher should be worth and how much the packs are worth and so on. But
Yeah,
it's,
you ended up at $7, right? Was it?
I think I can actually pull it up here. So this is an updated version of it, and I see the numbers now are a bit off for some reason. Okay, let's. Oh, it's the voucher price is $4. That's why. So let's say it's 15. So this was my calculation. Like I took all the card values and all the airdrops and the expected value of Dr. Blight, which after seeing him, I think this may be more like 80. I don't know, something like that. And the gold foil may be 800.
Yep.
And I ended up with seeing that, okay, the voucher value plus the cost of the packs is going to cost $18 to buy the pack in the first month. And the sum of all the values is pretty much the same. So the market is doing a good job of like pricing this in.
Yep.
But then I added like, okay, the modern format, and that this drops are going to be slow, there's going to be hype, there's going to be FOMO and everything, and I added some multipliers here. And this is just me guessing. So this was my attempt of trying to like, okay, should I buy these packs or not? And then I mean this is like so much work goes into one of these, and then I see you do a technical analysis, and I'm like, okay, that's another way to do it. But I guess you should do both to kind of understand what to do.
Sure.
Because,
Yep. Why not? So we can go back. We can go back to the voucher thing and the Dr. Blight discussion.
yeah.
If you ask me to try to like see what's happening here, there are a couple of things that I can tell you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we will not have enough data for voucher prices because
Yeah. I mean, even
But-
I can draw a line here and say that, yeah, this is a downward
exactly.
trend.
Hey,
Yeah.
somebody's already heard it. You are already a technical analyst, man. It could be the Dr. Blight, sure. It could also be that every day airdrops are happening, so people are slowly starting to sell. You can actually see it from the buy and the sell here. So if you go down, you can actually see, because again, if you're I'll be above
Oh, here.
here, the buy orders and the sell orders. You can actually see it from here, because what tends to happen is if you're somebody who wants to sell the vouchers immediately, you would just match the sell order price right there, or the buy order price right there, for example. So that's one of the reasons why it's probably going down, because the supply of the vouchers. So as vouchers are increasing every day, some people would want to sell it, whether or not that's due to Dr. Blight or whatnot. mean, possible that they don't want the vouchers anymore. They're just trying to profit out of it. It could be like a potential number of reasons.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, because it's easier to just undercut the next offer
Yeah.
because there's vouchers every day, then you start to see a downward trend in price. So that could
Right.
also be a potential fundamental reason why. It's sometimes simple as demand and supply. Now, you may be wondering, like, hey, I thought I was just talking about earlier how just because something is just because a supply is limited, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that the price will go down, right? Because if you increase supply, then what the hell is going with the vouchers? Well, the vouchers are still selling for how much is that? The vouchers are still selling for 19 hive.
Yeah, so
So
$15.59.
exactly. So this is what I mean. So this is what I mean by yes, there's a downward trend in supply in the cost because as a seller of a voucher, because there's more and more coming every day, it's much easier to just undercut people. Like just skip the queue and just all right, fine, you win, buyer. I'm just gonna sell it here because I need the money for something.
Right.
But I can also argue, then why is the price range still at 20 to 30 higher? So that means even though there's increasing number of vouchers, if people do not want to sell it below a particular threshold,
Yeah.
you will not see the price of the vouchers go down.
Right. Because then people figure like, okay, I might as well keep it and buy a pack for myself.
Yes,
So-
that's right. And if I'm gonna sell it, I'm only gonna sell it at this price. So the voucher example is a pretty good illustration of what I mean by just because something is finite or just because something has low supply, it doesn't mean that the price that it trades for will immediately go up or down. So just because it really depends on at what price am I comfortable selling this. So if nobody's buying it at this price, I'll be like, all right, I'm just gonna hold it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I should get Dr. Blood for myself. So this is a very good illustration of that point.
Right. So
Yeah.
and I've been thinking about this as well, like the depth of the market.
Yep.
Can you draw? I mean, in when I look at this, I think like, okay, I mean, the depth over here is just silly. I don't think. I mean, these people won't necessarily buy a voucher over here. Like, there's nothing that speaks to that. But it looks like there is buying pressure all the way down to like $14. That is more than the selling pressure. So right now, not very many things are like talking in favor of vouchers going down to more than like, I don't know, 15, 16. But a lot of things are, I mean, if you flip it around, I don't see this talking for vouchers going up either, because it's the buying pressure is very low at the higher end and higher at the lower end. So it's like people have decided that, okay, if vouchers go down to this price, I'm fine. Otherwise, I'll just not buy any vouchers at all.
Correct.
Like,
Then you have an impasse. So that's why the last price of the voucher right now was what, the 19 hive, 20 hive ish.
yeah. So somebody bought
Yeah.
it at the market.
Correct. So this is where you get an impasse. So it's just because supply and demand are such doesn't mean that there's an agreement. Because you can think about like fundamentally, if we think about it, if you're a seller, if I'm gonna sell it less than, let's say, 19 hive or £10,
Yeah.
the opportunity cost now is too high for me because that the profit that I'm gonna get suddenly diminishes my chance of getting a rare card, gold foil, legendary, blah blah blah. So is it worth selling my vouchers for less than a particular price? No. All right, cool. I'm gonna hold then.
Yeah. So
So doesn't matter if there's a huge buy wall. Let's take like there's a huge buy wall at like, I don't know, 15.
yeah.
Like, who cares? The opportunity cost for me is still very high, so I'll pass.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thought for the opportunity cost, because right now everyone can just have their money in a pool or as staked SPS, or just buy a card that gives
Yep.
add points and rewards and so on. Vouchers give you nothing right now, which I thought in the beginning that vouchers would like maybe drop a little bit in the beginning, because there would be some kind of hype in the beginning, people who wanted to buy all the packs right away would have done it in the beginning, and then a slow downfall, and then at the end I think the price of vouchers will go up, just because there's a race to the I think it's the top 6 who will be able to design a card. And there might be some kind of race, and also that people are trying to fill the gaps of, like, if you have like 48 vouchers, you want to go to 50 to get the reward.
Yep.
And all of this will create a lot of buying pressure
Yep, that's
at
possible.
the end. And also the opportunity cost at the end is lower, because then day one you could have had everything in a pool for 30 days, but in the last day you don't have that opportunity.
Yep.
So,
I agree. So that can, yeah. So that's again, it's a, if you notice, the example that you mentioned is a trigger point for a momentum shift.
Mm.
So you can apply the same principles for, like, when looking at price action in like any asset, it's the same.
Right.
So, like, oh, this is a potential event that has a chance of changing the dynamics of the exchange either positively or negatively, and let's see what happens.
Right.
That's a good example of, like, hey, like something clicks, what happens?
Mm.
Or if nothing, so the way we typically, so like when I analyze particular charts, events like that are what we call it news, right? So when news comes in, what tends to happen is price goes up, price goes down, price remains unchanged.
Yeah.
So if we know that price goes up from that moment in time, then it's a momentum shift on the upside, momentum shift on the downside. But if nothing happens, then we know that it was already priced in. So
Right.
that's how you sort of map the scenarios in there. So if you're waiting for a particular event and then nothing happens, it's like, cool. So the price of that asset, that particular event, has already been priced in.
Right. So
that's how you can check for the vouchers. So for the vouchers, if nothing happens at the end, then all right. So the vouchers actually already really have taken into consideration the end of the pre-sale, for example. But if it goes up, then you know that, all right, cool. Then this could be the potential reason why.
Right. So let's just to put this in some kind of context. Like, let's say that let's pretend that we have one person right here. Let's say that this is me, and this is the information that I have. And this is like someone who just started Splinterlands. I don't know.
Yep.
And we are both looking to buy vouchers at some point. We wanna have the packs because we want to play the game and we want to have Dr. Blight. And then the end of the month is approaching, and I expect, because this information is up here, this person doesn't expect this to happen, but I expect that the price will go up. So I will buy my vouchers like now. I will buy them right here. And so will everyone else who is just like me. Like, everyone who is seeing this development will buy here. And then this guy will look at us and see that, okay, the price of the vouchers is going up because people are buying. And this might trigger, like, him to do something. So it kind of trickles down from from the person with the most information right here, who maybe did something like bought all the packs day one, or like knew something that we didn't, and then the kind of it trickles down, so their behavior affects all the other behaviors.
Yep.
Is this like a viable way? Because I think it could also be the other way around, that everyone who doesn't understand, and let's say that this is 90% of people who's down here and doesn't have very much, they don't analyze very much. Let's just pretend that this is how it is. They might be sitting on more money than all the other ones with more capital. So like these guys might actually affect the market more, so that their behavior, like not that the info trickles down so much, but more that the behavior trickles up. If you know what I mean. Is that also? So what do you think about this thought process?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, if at the end of it all, let's say end of pre-sale, we have 7 days to do something.
Yeah.
But remember, you're thinking about it from the buyer perspective, but there's also the seller perspective that will happen. So eventually, if you have people who are like don't really care much about the vouchers, but they have them, maybe because they just card flip, or so the people who have vouchers will see that, hey, a lot of people are starting to buy, so let me sell. And then as the bids go up, there's also going to be selling pressure that from other players. So then you reach an equilibrium somewhere.
Right.
So it could be a balance of a lot of.
Right.
It could be a balance of that.
Yeah. So that's still an unknown. So we have like X amount of people who are just stacking up vouchers right now, who are not in. Their intention is not to buy cards, and then we have an amount of people who is going to buy vouchers, but we don't know when they will buy or how many. But somewhere along the line, they will meet. Like, well, these guys are waiting for a price somewhere, maybe here or here. They will start selling, and these guys, maybe they don't have a price target, but they have to save money, so that they have a time preference instead, and they will all meet in the marketplace somewhere. And we don't.
That's possible.
Yeah, so we don't know like how many of these guys are there, because the amount of if this amount is insignificant, like let's say that there are just a few people right here who are stacking up vouchers, then there will be a shortage of supply, where the determining factor will be how much these guys are willing to pay for their last packs or the last vouchers, and we don't know.
We would actually know. We actually know that, by the way. We actually know that now.
Okay.
The depth chart.
The depth.
The depth chart, yeah, because the depth chart shows the volume of people who are willing to sell how many, at what price.
Yeah, who have put them on the market, but I mean, there should be people who just hold them in their inventory and put them on the market.
No, what I mean by that is the depth chart already shows both the demand and the supply side, and then this will probably change during the like the end of pre-sale 7-day window period.
Yeah,
this will probably move. Whether or not it goes up and down, who knows?
Cool.
If I'm willing to bet on it, I would agree with you. Maybe it will go up because you would have a lot of people who are just gonna snap them all up and like just eat the cost associated with it. Or some people are probably just really filling the gap. Like for example, I want 200. I only have like 180. All right, I can afford $20. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah,
very possible.
We'll see.